Welcome to another episode of Dinner at Lola. I'm your host, Jay Lee. I want to introduce my very awesome guests and my good friends who have come out to eat and talk and share with us. And I want to start with Mr. Omar Dorsey over there.
That would be me.
Mr. Doug Petrie.
Hello. Hello.
Miss Britini Danielle.
Hey.
And the one and only Mr. Seth Macfarlane. Thank you for being here.
I love your career.
You've done some nice stuff. Who didn't know each other on the show?
I met her last week, and she gonna act like she don't know who I am. We were at the Ebony 100 party.
What is the Ebony 100?
The Ebony Power 100.
Right.
We have a power issue every year. At the end of the year, we talk about the top 100 African Americans who are making breakthroughs in business, in creative arts, in community relations, in politics, etc. And we have a big party every year, so we were partying it up last week.
And somehow
You were 105,
I didn't make
and
the
so
I see. And what's your title there for the people who don't know?
I am the Entertainment and Culture Director.
So what do you do on a daily?
Answer emails.
You still write for the magazine though?
I do. I wrote the Kevin Hart cover. I wrote this last Power issue cover with Ava DuVernay, John Legend, Nas, and Simone Biles.
That's pretty dope.
It's very dope.
How do we get Doug on the cover of Ebony?
Blackface.
That's horrible.
That'll sell. That's a great idea.
Like Rachel Dolezal.
Is she still relevant?
No.
What happened? You
but
guys
she
know who this
tries.
woman was? Rachel
The
Dolezal?
white people do not know who she is.
No, there was some hubbub about.
See, white people do not know who she is.
Well, no, do you know?
She lived her whole life as a black woman. She was on the
It's
board
one of those
of
stories.
NAACP
It's one of those stories that was like always like on my Google News. I'm like, I gotta read about that. She lived her life,
as a black woman.
yeah, but she wasn't black.
Nah.
She was white. And she still identifies as black.
It's really not her call.
But then the term that came out was transrace.
Transracial.
Transracial.
Transracial,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
transgender, but transracial.
Exactly.
And you can identify because in my soul, I am.
That
what
was
I
her
say I
argument.
am.
Her
I
argument
know
was,
so many black dudes who really think that they white.
What would your response be to somebody who says, "Hey, listen, if it works for sexuality, why can't I identify with a race?"
you don't have to sit in it.
You don't have to sit in it. You know, that's what it is. You can always be like, you know what, this is a little too much for me. We have this person in office now. I'm back to being this.
I mean, all the like braid outs in the world are not gonna make you black. Like you're not gonna get pulled over
take it
or
from-
followed around the store.
She might get pulled
Speak
out
of
the way she was
experience,
looking,
she's
though.
right.
I mean, until they see like they roll up on her car and they're like, "Oh, hey, girl. Okay, never mind. Never
This
mind."
is one of the definitions of white privilege is that you get to take a day off.
Yeah.
You know? And
Like if she could stop tanning for like a week and a half
Right.
and be looking like Doug.
You know a lot of people.
I'm loud as hell, and I'm country as hell. That's what it is. They're like, oh, he's out here.
you're the same way though.
You are, Jay Lee. You are. Yeah, man. Everybody knows.
Every time, that's the pot calling it. Wait a second. It's like we when we hang out, you know everybody.
I will tell this story about Seth and I, and this was years ago, because I've been knowing you, 12 years now? Yeah. You know, Seth came to the front. I used to work at Family Guy, right? It was my first job as a receptionist. You know, Seth was just super cool. You know, he came to the front one day and he was like, "Hey man, I gotta go to this party. Do you wanna go?" And at the time, you know, I'm at the front, I'm writing scripts, I'm cutting up headshots, I'm doing all this random I'm like, yeah, sure, right? So we end up going to this party at, I won't say her name, but pretty, you know, well-known person. And literally the whole night, Seth and I just made fun of everybody, like from the corner. And that's like the first time him and I just,
the same person.
oh, it's like, oh, that's gonna be my friend.
It was like
Forever.
Here's somebody who can teach me to be human around other humans.
Right, we just spent the whole time just ragging on people.
But you're very good. Like you could be in politics if you wanted to. Like you're very good at you throw you in any situation and you can literally milk the most out of it that anyone could.
You know, I was going to a different school every 2 years, so I had to get used to just fitting in. And the easiest way was either you gotta fight or you gotta make people laugh.
Fight, laugh.
Fight, laugh. Yeah.
I laughed in high school.
So how did you get Queen Sugar, by the way? Like, how did that even come about?
Yo, man, it's crazy because Ava DuVernay just called me. I was doing a movie in the Bahamas, and she was like, "Yo, I want you to read this script." And so I read the script. I was like, "Yo, this is dope, man." She was like, "I want you to play Hollywood." And I was like, "Cool. When you want me to come in for it?" She's like, "Come in." No, I want you to play it.
Oh wow.
She said, it's me and Oprah. It's Oprah's network. I'm the showrunner, and we both want you to play this role. And I was like, that never happens. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like I'm Brad Pitt out this mug.
Cause you did Summer with her.
I did Selma with her.
Got it.
Became like brother and sister after that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not knowing. I knew who she was. I didn't know if the industry would take to her like that because she is who she is.
Right.
And like, but we were so tight and so cool in art, and the way we think is so much alike.
You have a big hand in Daredevil.
Yes.
Yeah? And
Yeah.
just for the people who don't know, tell the people what you do.
Yeah. Executive producer, Daredevil seasons 1 and 2, showrunner, and now co-creator and executive producer of Defenders.
Right. Now, has that been something in the works for years? Like they were.
Oh yeah. Marvel is like it's like the movie Patton. You know, they've got their maps on the wall of like this is how we're gonna take over, and this is the timeline of it. And they always knew, and Netflix was helpful, and part of it was contracts because we knew that we couldn't, like creatively, we might want to let Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and them all have their space to a couple of seasons before we put them together. But who knows how you're going to get these people together again, just
Right.
contractually. So we went to Defenders, and it feels really right. I think it's going to be.
How far are you guys done into the? Are you guys already writing the scripts or?
The scripts are done, and it's shooting, and it'll be
wow.
out. It'll be out in I think 2018. Seasonally, whether you're a network or whatever, like 3-act structure is because it came from theater. It has to be a 3-act structure. So if you have 13 episodes, you do 4, 4, 4, and the last 2 kind of count as 1 because it's a 2-parter. But if I don't do that, I get lost.
Really?
Oh, like it's so easy to get lost because the characters start taking over and they start telling you what they start pushing you around.
Right.
Like I don't want to do that. I want to do this.
And Daredevil was 1 hour too, yeah.
On the networks now with episodic, they're just slicing everything. I think it's like 6 acts. Going through this right now is like driving me crazy because
How do you do 6?
you can't have a cliffhanger 6 times in an hour.
You can't.
It's just not possible. It's artificial and it's not good storytelling. So.
How do you go out?
One of our writers for Orville, we used to work for Friday Night Lights, and she said, like there was at certain points, like you would do an act out on somebody's feelings got hurt, like that would be your act out because you can't. It's the only thing that I really, and I still love network TV, but it's the one thing that really sticks in my craws because it's like, man, we got to have some sort of false jeopardy 6 times.
And on Netflix, it's a totally different game where you have
Yeah.
this full
whatever you
hour.
want. Yeah.
And
It's an hour movie, basically.
It's an hour movie, and your sense. There's 2 things: your sense of build, which is so important in the story, your sense of rhythm and build, and how to when you talk about Selma being a sports movie.
Right.
Like you want it to feel like that. You want it to start as like, oh, okay, it's a drawing room comedy, and then it's like things get a little worse, and then a little worse, and then everyone's just beating the shit of everybody else. It's like, and it's always got to end in some horrible. Everything went horribly wrong, and you can build to that. But then, so within the hour, you get it's really nice. Like it's not the 6-act breaks.
But is there a trade-off in that, you're putting them all out there in one lump where it's like you are the conversation for a month and then you're gone for a year.
Not even a month. It's like a weekend.
Weekend.
A weekend, because if you don't watch it the first weekend it hits, people are like, oh, I already watched it.
We live in a binge society now where it's like everything right now, gotta have it. So what is the trade-off actually?
It is like releasing a movie.
It feels much more like releasing a movie, and it goes back to like originally doing theater. I remember doing theater in high school, and it was like the biggest thing that could possibly happen. It would build up, build up, build up, and then the next day it was like, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
Like, where did everybody go?
Yeah.
Because it's done. The only thing that's good about it, so you do have this, and then you come back to like, oh, you have to have a really full life and good friends,
Right.
if anyone knows, please, I'll give you my email address, let me know how you do that. Thank you. But also the other thing too is that because it's such a machine right now, you're usually worrying about like season 2. When season 1 came out,
Right.
we were shocked and we were like, what? We're doing the Punisher. Like, what? Oh, right, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
We forgot about him. This was where I got Stephen DeKnight and Drew Goddard did such a good job is that they were like, how do you introduce the Kingpin? We never call him the Kingpin. And the first thing is him looking at a painting and wondering how to ask a girl out. That's your villain.
Right.
The social awkwardness of Vincent D'Onofrio was the most insane thing that I think I've ever seen playing Kingpin.
Right.
And I was like, that's such a great writing choice to have that.
The first time we see him get brutal is because the
Outside
guy
the car
with the
That
car
was ridiculous.
is because the Russian dude embarrassed him in front of her. Mm-hmm. And I didn't.
Embarrassed me in front of my girlfriend, and I will tell you, it ended our deal with Chrysler because they were like, I was like, what are you talking about?
No. Literally, Kingpin decapitates a man with a Chrysler car door.
Yeah.
So I could see Chrysler being like,
And I was like, they're durable, they're versatile. Like, this is a great advertisement.
So you had like a tie-in deal with them.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah, and then we decapitated.
And then
the
you
guy
killed
with
somebody
one of
with their
cars.
products.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you probably should have seen that one coming.
No one was shocked.
are you nervous? Because Orville is what, your first hour?
This is an hour long.
First hour long. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a dramedy.
Yeah.
But are you nervous though?
You know, it's in some ways, I suppose it's from a writing standpoint. I've never experienced a smoother process, and it makes me think, why wasn't I in this genre from day one? Why have I been in half-hour comedy this long? Because this just feels like an old glove, right. And so it's not. No, I mean, there's the natural, you know, you want to do it right, and you want to be good. You don't want to screw anything
And you're
up.
also
because
the
there's a
lead
lot
of
of yeah. I mean, there's a lot of money and whatever riding on it, but it's you know, we've written 13 scripts before, you know, which for a network is we're ahead of the game. Mm-hmm. But it's been the smoothest process that I've ever experienced, and the writers have been great. So there has yet to be something that is a giant red flag that makes me go, we've made a terrible mistake. Now that could still happen.
Right.
The thing when you said, like, why did I do this? Man, you created two of the greatest half hours of all time.
I don't have to sit here and take that.
No, real talk. Like, honestly, like, I mean, between Family Guy and American Dad, like,
And then there was the Cleveland show that I wrote.
Well, I love the Cleveland show. I do love it.
No, it's okay. I liked it.
I did love it. I did, but you know, we're talking about longevity here. So it's like,
I mean, you never know, because those things that you love the most, as we all know, it's like those things that you throw yourself into the most are sometimes the things that don't resonate with an audience. So it's you know, I hope you're right. I fingers crossed you're right.
A question for you as a writer. We were talking about the Nate Parker interview that sort of blew up right before Nate, or right during the Birth of a Nation sort of controversy with
love that piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does it feel like, did you know that was going to be as big of a sort of interview as it was?
Did I feel like it was going to be big? No, not necessarily. I mean, I just don't want to get roasted on the internet. I mean, that's really my main motivating factor. Want to give people an inside look, because a lot of people don't know, you know, celebrity. It's kind of, they have one idea of celebrities, and you kind of want to give them an authentic look at them, for lack of a better word. But I don't want to get dragged on the internet, man. Like,
what would they have dragged you for?
Black people are critical.
Yo, you know what? Black Twitter is amazing. I try to my best.
Black
I'm not
Twitter
even
is
PC,
critical.
I'm BC.
You can't win on Twitter.
You can't.
There's no way.
I don't think I think you're just.
It's a mob mentality.
It really is. It really is.
I mean, but if you don't upset the right people, you can't
But
win.
you upset everyone's mad all the time.
And they all have access to say it now.
Yeah.
Yo, people got mad at me for some that my character did. Man, Hollywood, man, you tripping, man. Get off your feelings. This, that, and the other. And it's all black women.
Don't upset black women.
That's why I said, like, I finally got a black female fan base.
Don't do it.
Because, like, when I was on Ray Donovan, I had a white male fan base.
We will
and that
carry
was cool.
you. We will carry you to the promised
Either
land.
you've resonated so much
That's
that
what
they
it is.
believe your
100%.
character so much,
100%.
which is good. That's
As
a good
an
thing.
artist, that's all you care about.
Or it also means the world is ending, but that's you know.
Like, even if you do well, like, I don't go near any of that stuff. I even stopped my Facebook account because I'm so self-loathing as a writer that I'll get 9 good reviews and I'll find the one bad
Me too.
one.
Oh, God, Doug, I'm the worst.
There was one thing about Daredevil where they said, like, the ham-fisted, heavy-handed dialogue that lands like a thud, like a comic book pound. And I was just like, I can't remember anything else other than the word thud. And I was just like, kind of sounds like my name. I'm like driving home, like, Doug sounds like thud.
Doug's a thud.
This deep connection on a daily basis where you can get into an argument with a guy in Omaha who hated your episode of the show last night.
Do you ever engage?
I mean, after the election, I got into a little bit.
But I guess my question, for you working for a magazine, where do people go for legitimate, honest, no news now?
Twitter.
How do you
That's where people go.
how do you weed through that? You're gonna have both sides of everything.
I don't think we need both sides of everything. I think that's one of the major problems when people get into these equivocations of, oh, we have a progressive, so we have to have this crazy person on the right.
And there's this thing, I went canvassing the weekend before, I went to Nevada to canvass for Hillary before this thing started, and it was like this whole thing about like, oh, we're the elite, and I was like, no, we're not the elite, like we're educated. Go to America and get the shit scared out of you, because that's what happened when you go to Nevada.
The Hollywood elite is a weird thing that no one has ever dissected. It's the fact that our version of millionaire is somehow out of touch, and yet Trump's version of billionaire, which, by the way,
It's for the people. It's popular.
Allegedly.
and the difference is, look, this is the one industry, that is of this magnitude, where you have a lot of millionaires who got rich overnight.
Yeah.
Which truly epitomizes the American dream
100%.
that I was talking about. This is the only industry where that's a regular reality.
Right.
And that is why people are so progressive out here, because most people were poor like yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
And the money is new, and we remember that, oh yeah, we were getting by these guys.
I was just talking about eating cereal. That was my meals.
I'm sure there are exceptions to this, but at large, the money weirdly comes second for a lot of people. Like you're not going to see a guy at Pfizer, the CEO of Pfizer going, we're going to lose money on this boner pill, but I'm really emotionally passionate about it. It's like a project that I really, it doesn't
has to
happen.
be blue.
So it's and those are two things that just completely fly in the face of this idea that this is a bubble that's the same as every other collection of rich guys. It's different.
I was just gonna talk to you guys about some of the rough patches that you've had that now you've gotten to where you are that you had to kind of get through.
I was like in between jobs and I started working for FEMA.
All right.
And I was like, I
Did
need
you really?
some. Yeah, I did, dude. I started working for FEMA. And then I ran for Blindside. That changed my whole life. And I was like, oh, okay.
Did you keep any FEMA money?
Man, I think I might have given that to my ex-wife. I think all that went to my ex-wife. I'm making some good. I'm making like $1,200 a week on FEMA.
Everybody I know who does this would do it for free. Yeah. Everybody, and if we had to do like puppet shows tonight just to entertain each other, we would do that. But when you really hit the bottom and you really still keep, in my case, writing, something happens. Mm-hmm. Something real and spiritual happens. And I remember going into the New York City Public Library, and that's the great thing about New York, and what's great about art is that it's kind of limitless, Okay, you have no money, but the library's free.
Sure.
And the library is grand. And I remember walking in there and like, I'm fucking hungry, and I'm scared, and I'm young, and I don't know anything. And I may not have an apartment, next week, but I'm gonna write something great tonight. And it's magic. So we're afraid of the bottom, but when you really, really hit the bottom and you stay the course, something shows up.
And you went straight from New York to LA?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Been here since '94.
Are they doing Daredevil season 3?
It's all Defenders for now.
All right. I will say there is a scene in Daredevil season 2, a fight scene
That
is so goddamn good.
Is it the hallway scene?
There's a scene in this show where Daredevil, 3 floors, and it looks like it's one shot, and he literally kicks everybody's ass coming all the way down the steps.
Like, you know how Donkey
It's so
you
good.
play Donkey Kong?
Yeah.
It's like Donkey Kong and people,
now I get it.
and people
Okay,
are in barrels.
It was so good.
It was really fun to do. That episode had to be about these iconic moments that are from a Punisher comic and it's very much like an angel talking to a devil, or Christ talking to Satan in the desert. It's a one-act play.
Yeah.
We designed it as a descent into hell. So it's
Dante?
Yeah. We looked at Dante. We looked at Hieronymus Bosch. And literally, as you go down, There's more red. There's fire. And Marco Ramirez, my partner, we had this ongoing fight. I was like, we gotta have just one dude with a pitchfork. And he's like, no pitchfork. Marco killed it by getting a screen capture from Rotten Burgundy, and there's somebody who has a trident during that fight.
Yeah,
Is this what you mean?
yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, now you killed it. Now nobody's
Now
gonna
we
do it.
can't.
Yeah. So, but God bless him. John Bernthal's such a good actor, and Charlie Cox is such a good actor. But they kept saying, could we have less dialogue? You just made our jobs 10 times harder, and let's go. You know, we were so happy. Yeah.
Well, the thing I'm bringing to Orville real quick, the thing I'm excited about is I remember when Seth was finishing up the casting of it, you said, I'm not looking for comedians, I'm looking for great actors who can be funny.
I'm weirdly less comfortable around other comics than I am around actors, because it's strange. I find that when you have two comedians playing opposite each other, there's a weird like
one-upsmanship.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, and like a defensiveness, and like nobody really like we tend to be kind of guarded, and when that was the big revelation working with Charlize on the Western was that you have this engine of ability and talent who's literally just throwing out stimulus, and I was like, this is like the easy, and not easy, but I mean a pleasure. If the joke's on the page, then you just want it delivered real and believably and honestly. And since with this show, it's like this show is it's a sci-fi drama with jokes.
I have a gift for you guys. It's not for you. It's for you to give away. The Peg Effect has given us these awesome goodie bags. And in these bags, there are necessities for people in need, toiletry, wipes, toothbrush, some for men, some for women. You go to pegeffect.org, you can buy these, keep them in your car. Then when you run up, you see somebody, you can just give it to them. And their motto is to empower through the cycle of giving. So everybody gets one.
I promise you, I'm not gonna like stumble home drunk one night and just be like, I'm out of toilet paper. Goodie bag. Thank God.